This is the Honor 9, the latest in a series of affordably priced flagships designed to give discerning smartphone shoppers a premium experience without leaving a $700 sized hole in their wallets. The phone sure looks a lot like last year's Honor 8, but in everything from design to performance to even the dual camera hardware, nearly every corner of this phone is hiding an upgrade or two. I'm Stephen Shank with PhoneArena, here to talk about the impact of all those upgrades as I review the Honor 9. Last year, the Honor 8 emerged as a serious contender in the premium mid-range space. Maybe it wasn't the best value out of all of its peers, but it looked nice, was a joy to use, and got people paying a lot closer attention to Huawei's Honor sub-brand. All that considered, it's little wonder that the Honor 9 doesn't stray too far from the Honor 8's playbook, and while near every aspect of this handset has been tweaked over the course of the last year, this still feels very much like a worthy successor to a beloved phone. The Honor 9 keeps the general design of the Honor 8, while making an adjustment here and there. The overall shape of the phone largely follows in the footsteps of its forebear, and while the phone features similarly rounded edges, a sandwich made of 2 panes of glass around a metal core, the Honor 9 switches that up with a much more gradually sloping curve around back for a more Samsung-like feel. We also see the phone's fingerprint scanner relocate from the middle of the phone's back to right underneath the screen, swapping places with the Honor logo. While the optimum positioning for a fingerprint scanner is largely a matter of personal preference, this move does let users take advantage of swipe-based Android navigation should they so choose. You're not forced to go that way though, and the sensor can simply act as a home button, flanked on both sides by customizable capacitive controls. The scanner itself is just what we'd expect from a Huawei family device, with impressively fast, accurate performance. The whole design generally looks pretty nice. That same glass-covered metal groove construction that let the Honor 8 catch light and generate some interesting patterns is back in full force, and is similarly successful here. But there are also some new problems that crop up. The phone's back was already quite smooth, thanks to those under-glass rear cameras, and in moving the fingerprint scanner around front, the back is now just too smooth for its own good. You're going to want to be very careful with this handset, as it has a tendency to slowly slide off seemingly flat surfaces. Just the slightest angle is enough to get the Honor 9 moving. Thankfully, the phone comes with a clear case, giving you an easy option for protection. With a 5.15-inch screen, the display on the Honor 9 is relatively petite, and the Full HD 1080 by 1920 resolution works well at this size. Brightness is pretty good, but color accuracy is a little bit off in more ways than one, a common issue with Huawei devices. Honor 9 performance is really solid, thanks to the combination of the Kirin 960 chip and a beefy 6 gigs of RAM, 4 gigs on some models. That processor's been around a more expensive Huawei phone since last year, and while it's showing its age a little, it's still a strong contender, with performance slightly ahead of a Snapdragon 821, like we find on phones like the LG G6 or Google Pixel. All that hardware is put to use running EMUI 5.1 atop Android 7.0. That's a software package we've gotten to know on recent Huawei phones, and it works just about as well here as it did on those. That means there are ample avenues for customization, and while the overall feel of the interface is relatively light and functional, on the app front we do have a fair amount of third-party bloat, even without carrier meddling to blame. Speaking of carriers, the Honor 9's focused on international markets, and as such the band support isn't exactly ideal for US users who might be thinking of importing. That situation could change if the Honor 9 ever officially sets its sights in the US, but right now, for instance, we tried using the phone on T-Mobile and were stuck with molasses-slow edge data speeds. It's not really the phone's fault, but it's still something worth keeping in mind if operation in the States is important for you. Audio quality from the phone's speaker is alright, but not entirely without issue. It's decently loud, but has a tendency to sound a bit hollow, like you're listening in a tunnel. There's some more interesting stuff going on with headphone support though, with a feature called Honor Hissin. Yeah, that's listen, but with an H. It lets you tap into a 3D virtual surround sound effect, and while it is interesting, we didn't really feel like it added much to sound quality at all. Luckily, you can turn off that 3D nonsense and just use a straightforward equalizer, which works much better. The Honor 9's armed with a set of 2 main cameras, a 20-megapixel black and white camera and a full-color 12-megapixel. That pairing sounds a lot like what we saw on the Huawei P10 series, absent the Leica branding there, and unsurprisingly, the system works just about as well. Highlights include pretty nice low-light performance and the ability to take monochrome shots for artistic effect. Depending on how you use the camera, there's even an option for hardware zoom. If you shoot at 12 megapixels, you can toggle a 2x mode for a closer look at your subject. But if you're shooting at the full 20 megapixels, what you see is what you get. Video recording is a little less successful, and while some components, like sound quality when you're shooting video, are pretty well done, we found the camera losing and reacquiring focus way too often. To be fair, refocusing is pretty quick, but we just wish the Honor 9 didn't lose it so much in the first place. This year, the Honor 9 gets a slightly smaller battery than the Honor 8, and while endurance takes a hit, it's ultimately not that bad, scoring about 8 hours of screen on time in our custom test. Recharging is decently fast as well, with about 100 minutes standing between you and a fully charged battery. The Honor 9 may be using a recycled design, and its performance is a step or two below the best flagships out there, but it's still mostly a well-done, pleasing-to-use phone. Extras like waterproofing could have helped elevate the handset to the next level, but even as is, though it doesn't do any one thing really spectacularly, it manages to avoid any major missteps. Like the Honor 8, the key to this phone is pricing and what you get for your money. Costing somewhere around 400 euros, the Honor 9 definitely feels like a really compelling alternative to more expensive Huawei phones like the P10. For a little more money, competitors like the OnePlus 5 are also good options, but if you really need to watch your spending, the Honor 9 represents a solid compromise. I'm Steven Shank with PhoneArena. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos, including full coverage of IFA 2017.